exploring lakes, rivers, and reservoirs across the country with an unyielding goal: to enlighten viewers from a fisheye perspective. Come along and we'll investigate the habitat. Much more than a fishing show, this is an eye-opening aquatic experience. Welcome to Strike King's Hook and Look with Kim Stricker. America's most popular sport fish, the largemouth bass, has rightfully achieved this level of admiration due to a number of attributes. Most assuredly, they provide explosive strikes, fierce fights, and magnificent jumps. But the largemouth's popularity is more likely due to their wide distribution and accessibility. A highly adaptable critter, largemouth bass can be found in small ponds, large reservoirs, lakes, streams, and rivers in every state across the country, with the exception of Alaska. And what makes their pursuit so challenging is the diversity of these fisheries. Each body of water having a distinct angling feel, unique to its structure and clarity. None more perplexing than the vast jungle of vegetation throughout Florida waters, when at first glance, everything looks the same.
Toad.
Toad, get it out of there, get it out of there.
Nice looking fish, that's what we're after here.
Boasting the sunniest winter climate in the eastern United States, as well as the highest average January temperatures, the state of Florida welcomes Hook and Look on this week's episode. Kim Stricker quietly idles his Ranger alongside a quagmire of vegetation, typical of the natural lakes of this region. Robert Shamblin, Marketing Director of JL Marine Systems, the Tampa-based makers of power pole shallow water anchors, has agreed to accompany Kim on this midwinter outing and to offer some hometown direction.
Yeah, this area right in here with this sawgrass, there's probably a kicker trail that runs just inside. Yeah. And that whole zone is gonna be 4 to 5 feet deep, which is where, if they're bedding already, that's where they're gonna be. This area's got everything they like. It's a matter of just presenting in a fashion that they want it. I've got an ocho, and it's a soft plastic stick bait that I can work really slow through this area. It's been cold the last couple of days, so the fish are moving kind of slow. And today it's starting to warm up just a little bit more, which is nice. So just moving a little bit slower and letting them come find that bait versus trying to throw right at them and entice them into hitting. Crap. Or do I got a fish? I got a fish.
Good fish,
Nice
good
fish,
fish, good
nice
fish.
fish, nice fish.
Good
hog.
job.
Got a hog.
Good job. Ocho?
Yeah. Go to him.
I'm going.
I'm
It's coming, it's good fish. Nice
Yep,
fish.
okay. Don't get him caught in trouble over here. Yeah.
Good job. Very good. Good job. Ocho. Very, very nice.
The ocho. Awesome. Nice looking fish. That's what we're after here.
Good job, Robert.
Thank you.
That was just kind of in a little pocket in between, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right where the reeds, the Kissimmee grass, and the pepper grass come together here, where they're staging up. There's beds in here, but they haven't quite pulled up yet.
Most of the beds were still vacant, but we came across one male locked on tight.
Is that it?
It's right there.
Oh yeah. Wow, it's so doggone hard.
I see the fish.
Oh, you do?
He's laying right there in between the reeds. There he is. Get the net, Robert.
Yeah, hey. You yanked that one in pretty quick.
Coffee tube.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing with a coffee tube. This is the honey color. Something with some white or something you can see on the bed is what you want to drop on it. But it didn't take long to get him, did it?
No, not at all.
Just locating that male. He'll go right back to that bed and continue what he was doing.
It's the end of January. We've had a kind of a warm winter. We've got these fish are just now starting to pull up in here on the beds. There's only a couple of bucks, but most of the females and the larger fish are waiting to pull up. We had a little bit of a cold front come through. We fished an area that's got a nice sandy bottom to it, and you could clearly tell right where that transition was between the murky bottom that was soft and that hard sand bottom, and that's where the beds were. It's a classic scenario down here in Florida at this time of year, and watching those fish pull up is a beautiful thing on those beds.
Don't go away. An in-depth surveillance of the Florida largemouth spawning ritual is coming up next. Hook and Look is brought to you by Strike King Lure Company, #1 in fishing lures. Humminbird, simply, clearly, better. Vicious Fishing Line, get vicious. And by Boat US Angler. Welcome back. Robert Shamblin shares one of the latest innovative features included on select power pole products this coming season.
I fished with Kim Stricker today, and he's got the new Pro Series 2 mounted on his boat. And one of the new features that's included with the Pro Series 2 and all of our 2012 products that include the Sea Monster control system is the new standard remote control with the auto down, double click, and auto up, double click, which is a really neat feature of our new 2012 product lineup.
In Florida, midwinter is the most transitional time of year. We've put together a segment which will help you better comprehend the largemouth's movement and behavior throughout the spawn stage.
During this period, as the water warms, bass begin their annual migration towards the shallows to spawn. When the water temperature stabilizes around the 60-degree mark, the males, which are typically much smaller than the females, will seek out a clear sandy bottom that has direct access to sunlight and subsequently fan a circular nest. Preferably, this location will be best protected from wind and current as well. With the use of a good pair of polarized sunglasses to block the glare on the water, the shiny white beds are easily spotted, and the male bass can be observed swimming in close proximity, awaiting a willing female. It's at this time that the enthusiastic males are aggressive and very catchable. During the mating season, it's not uncommon for males to spawn with multiple females, and throughout the courtship process, several hefty, ripe females will casually pass by the charismatic male as if in a display of allure or flirtation. But once chosen, the willing female can then be observed swimming off and returning to the nest and her anxious suitor. It's during this period, prior to the actual spawn, that these large females are easily accessible and vulnerable to anglers. However, once the male persuades her to the nest and the ceremony begins, both are oblivious to their surroundings and will ignore even the most well-placed lure. This wonderful ritual of nature unfolds underwater each spring and is surely an interesting sight to behold firsthand and from a bass eye view. During the spawn, the female's markings become much more pronounced and her eyes become equally as black. Her demeanor appears as if in an amorous stupor as she takes choreographed direction from her partner. Conversely, the male remains pale, focused, and at times somewhat forceful. He'll repeatedly peck at her to maneuver her in place. Once in position together, she will tilt laterally and begin to shudder in an effort to release her eggs a little at a time. This course of action will repeat and continues for hours until their mission is complete. The female bass, now weary from the ordeal, may remain for a day or two, then ultimately vanishes towards deep water to recuperate. It's entirely the male's parental responsibility to remain on duty and aggressively defend the eggs against all predators. Stay tuned. Kim and Robert check out some man-made canals when Hook and Look continues.
I'll tell you what's really interesting is to watch this Hook and Look crew in action. They really do an amazing job when it comes to showing the real life fishing situations that you encounter out there, not only above the water, but below the water. The nice thing about Hook and Look is getting that second perspective of under the water. They really know what they're doing. They do a really good job of putting in the details and all the hard work that makes up a really fantastic show, and we're proud to be a part of it.
When fishing Florida lakes, one of the key areas for finding early spawners are man-made dredged canals. These canals are wind protected and the sun warms the water to the desired temperature much sooner than on the main lake. As we made our way into the mouth, a stately osprey standing guard respectfully greets us with a grand salute. Did you get that? Fish? Yeah, yeah. Come on, Daddy. There you go.
There we go. One fish, two fish.
They're like clones.
Look at that. Woohoo!
Good job. Now see just along the edge?
He's right along the edge there.
Rage craw?
Rage craw, blue black with blue flake.
It's a variable potpourri of Strike King lures we're catching them on.
Yep.
When the bass begin moving into the canals, another effective presentation is to parallel the banks and weed lines with a weightless caffeine shad. The erratic action and slow fall of this soft plastic jerkbait often triggers strikes in this scenario. There might be a whole canal system back there.
And because we have a power pole, we're able to put it down and not hit your top here. The secret little spot, see?
Fish, 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 nice fish. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Yep.
Come on up here, baby. There's a decent fish.
There's a dandy right there.
Right there. Ain't that caffeine shad?
That's nice.
Ah, dandy. Dandy, that's a little more like it.
Yeah.
But look at this canal opens up down here.
Yeah, there's some water moving in here. I think we might be onto something there. Oh, you went Jimmy Houston on him.
That ain't a bad thing. Thanks, fish.
Up next, Kim and Robert get into the thick of things in hopes of a big bite.
Yes.
This portion of Hook and Look is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. Evinrude. And by PADI, the Professional Association of Diving Instructors. PADI is the way the world learns to dive. Welcome back to Hook and Look. Kim and his guest, Robert Shamblin, have presented a diverse assortment of lures for scattered Florida strain largemouth. They swam a slow-falling Ocho stickworm, covered water with a caffeine shad soft plastic jerkbait, crawled a Texas-rigged rage craw, and tempted small males on the nest with a coffee tube. However, it's become apparent that the really big pre-spawn females just haven't moved up yet, but could very well be staging in the thick vegetation. Kim switches to the heavy artillery in an effort to penetrate the matted grass.
Besides live shiner fishing, in Florida, there's no better way to catch a pig than pitching in these thick mats. I've got a 1 ounce tungsten Strike King weight and a rodent. That's Hackney's new heavy flipping hook, a 4/0 hook. It is a strong hook, so we'd be ready. And I got vicious braid, 50 pound, so if I do get a big strike, I'm gonna be able to jerk them out of there, I hope. Depth on that. Oh, yes. Yeah.
That away.
That's how quick it happened. Who's eating rodents?
Put a rodent on?
You know, Robert, there's so many different patterns to fish in Florida. I mean, a number of different lures. You know, pitching these mats is probably the best way to catch a giant, and we still might catch one, but that's keeper fish.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we've tried fishing the caffeine shad, we've thrown an Ocho, catch nice fish on Ocho as well. There's just so many lures that work so beautiful in Florida.
Yeah, I think we've used them all today.
That's The mixture of vegetation is the principal habitat on Florida lakes to not only largemouth bass, but to a wide variety of creatures that live, feed, and breed in or nearby the shallow water. Is that a gator out there?
I think so.
Is that a gator?
Could be. It's a good size one, yeah.
Gators are quite prevalent throughout Florida, frequenting the areas bass call home. Typically, they keep their distance. However, to those who choose to swim in the reptile surroundings, there tends to be some modest anxiety. But frankly, when it comes to reptiles in the matted jungle, the gators aren't necessarily our biggest fear. We're more concerned with these long fellows.
That is a big one.
Ugh. Danny, get in the water, will you? I need a strike shot here. Now, by no means do I even remotely pretend to be an expert in serpentology. With that said, this is one heavy freaking snake, banded, and its neck is narrower than its head. Because of the water, I can't quite distinguish whether its head is block-shaped or flat. Regardless, I can promise you this. This is not the bite I'm wishing for out of the matted grass.
Oh my gosh. That'll get it down there. Toad.
toe. Get it out of there. Get it out of there.
My drag. Nope, he's decent.
He's there. Bring him out.
He's decent, but
he's a good one. Good. Get him over here. Get him over here. You got him. As soon as you put on the tungsten weight, first pitch into that stuff.
Wow. Yep, and that's a keeper.
We're getting a little better. We're due that pig.
Yeah. Oh man, he inhaled that thing. Put that new rodent on there. I switched to the rodent as well as the bigger bait.
Oh, you did? Oh, good.
Yeah, and he just gobbled it.
That's what that braided line will do, is set that hook so good.
Nice fish. That's
Absolutely.
That's a keeper.
Absolutely. Back gets tired.
Yeah.
Arm gets tired.
Legs are hurting, back's hurting. Where's that big old 7-pounder? You know, it could happen on any flip.
I know.
Could be a little one, could be a giant.
That's what's cool about Florida. Well, this week, that big old giant eluded us, but that's what keeps us coming back. I want to thank Robert Shamblin for joining us and for PowerPole's product, as well as JL Marine Systems' support of our program. Coming up next week, Strike King's Vice President of Marketing, Doug Miner, joins us at New Hampshire's scenic Lake Winnipesaukee. Parental smallmouths, sack fry, and bobber fishing. It's an interesting show you won't want to miss. That's coming up next week on Hook and Look.
Hook and Look is a Kim Stricker production.